it wasn't 43. It was almost.
That's so good.
Okay. Very good. So I will tuck those in the back and we'll start in the front tomorrow. So let's do our minds on math. And let's see. Oh, ticket jar. Oh, the tickets are a little bit messy. Tell you what, let's just do row one. Row one. Because the tickets are all in different places right now. Okay, ready, row one? Or popsicle sticks. Okay. 6 times 7 plus 8 divided by 5 minus 6 times 8 equals.
32.
I think you both tied. Okay, remind me to make a new sheet. Next one. 11 minus 6 divided by 5 plus 9 divided by 2 times 9 equals. Now we got it just a little bit more. And last one. 8 plus 8 divided by 2 minus 8 times 7 plus 9 equals. All right, row 2. 4 times 9 minus 1 divided by 7 plus 12 equals.
17.
That was your 10th, Lucy. Okay, next one. 5 divided by 5 times 5 plus 5 minus 5 equals.
5.
Okay, you two. Sorry, I'm having trouble finding people and where. Micah, your name's Micah, right? Okay, ready? 36 divided by 3 minus 4 times 7 plus 6 equals. I'll do it again. 36 divided by 3 minus 4 times 7. Yeah, 62. Row 3. 9 plus 8 minus 3 divided by 7 times 8 equals.
16.
Okay. 13 minus 5 times 6 plus 2 divided by 5 equals.
7.
Say it again. 13 minus 5 times 6 plus 2 divided by 5 equals.
10.
And was that 2 or?
That was 2.
Okay. 24 divided by 3 times 4 equals.
Did you say 24 divided by 4? Or
24 divided by 3 times 4 equals. Did I say it too fast? 24 divided by 3. I said it too. What'd you say? 24 divided by 3.
32.
Yes. Okay, row 4. 6 times 6 divided by 4 equals
13.
9. 5 times 5 plus 7 equals
32.
tie. That was Jensen and Alex, right? Jensen, that was your 10th. And Alex, okay. 16 divided by 4 times 7 equals.
28.
What did you say? You said 28.
It was Alex. Alex said 28. Yeah, he said 28 before Marissa.
She started it first, but it didn't sound like you said 8. Did you say 20? All right. Okay, one more. Right? Or did you do 3? Okay, row 5. Um, 32 divided by 4 divided by 2 equals.
4.
Yes. 8 plus 7 divided by 5 times 8 minus 7 equals.
15. 18. 17.
17. Alright, one more. 9 times 3 plus 4 minus 3 divided by 4 equals
8. No, 7.
7. Yep. Good job. Alright, you know what? I'm going to leave this out so I remember. Turn it over. Alright. Don't forget Mrs. Muller. Okay, now for math today, I don't think it'll be quite as intense as yesterday. How many of you, when you got home, you were able to do your homework pretty well? You understood it pretty well? Oh boy. That means a lot of you still, okay. Basically, you had to just rename the mixed numbers. You had to rename them, okay? So, actually our lesson sort of goes along with that today. We're going to talk about equivalent fractions. So what does that mean?
Equal fraction. Unequal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Equivalent fractions. So, are they going to look different? Are the fractions going to look different?
No.
Yes. But are they going to be the same amount?
No.
Yes. They're going to look different, but they're going to be the same amount. Alright, so for instance, turn in your book to page 249. Look at the top of the page. It shows 2 pizzas. Well, you know what? I could demonstrate it with our circle. Okay, we have our fraction circles. So let's find fractions that they look different, the numbers are different, but they mean the same amount. All right, so let's start with something easy. Okay, we have half, right? What's another fraction on here that would equal the same amount as half? Logan?
4.
Say it again.
4.
Not 4 fourths. 4 fourths is 1. would equal, yes, okay? 2/4 equals half. Okay, 2/4 equals 1/2. So let's make a list. So we have 1/2 equals 2/4. All right, what other fractions equal 1/2? Marissa.
4/8.
Okay, 4/8. So you know what? I'm just gonna take these off. All right, look, we've got another half. Okay, now this was 4/8, but they're all the same amount, right? They're all equivalent. If I laid this half tile on top, it would be the same amount. See? Okay, what other fractions? Mason, what other fractions equal half? Now, I'm touching this green circle down here. This is in fifths. Can any fifths be equivalent to 1/2?
No.
Sure. Look, 2/5 is not quite a half. And then 3/5 is more than a half. So we can't have fifths be equivalent to half. So goodbye fifths. All right, are there any other? Mason? 6th. How many 6ths equals a half?
5.
Okay, so we have this light blue circle is in 6ths. So if I have 3/6, that's the same as, I guess I should face them all the same way. That would help. Okay, so look, 3/6 is the same as 1/2. Are you seeing a pattern?
No.
Okay, are there any other? Jana.
5/10.
Okay, so this purple circle's in tenths. Now, let me move this guy. So 5/10 is equivalent to 1/2. These are all equivalent fractions. Look, aren't they all the same amount? But they all have a different fraction. But they're all the same amount. That's what an equivalent fraction is. So 5/10. Now, tell you what, let me show it to you this way. Do you see a pattern here?
Yeah.
Look, do you see how your numerator there's a pattern. It's going up by 1, but the denominators in this case are going up by 2. Now, this circle is in thirds. Can I divide thirds into equivalent fractions with half?
No.
No, because if I have 1/3, it's not quite a half, and if I have 2/3, it's more than a half. Okay, did you have something you want to say?
Yeah, because you can never divide in half odd numbers because there'll always be one of the tiles when it's put together. Only even numbers can get divided.
Very good. She hit the nail on the head, okay? Now, note it, she's right. This circle that's in thirds is an odd number. So you can't divide it in half. You can't divide odd numbers in half. So, very good observation, Logan. All right, yes.
Something I want to say, one of the things that we could do over there, if it was up, I have a question and I have one of the things. So we could do 100 200s.
Right?
Yeah.
Right,
50,
100 200ths is equal to half.
We could also do 1,000 2,000.
Right. We could do infinity numbers, right?
Infinity numbers.
Not infinity, but you're right. Okay, Logan?
50 100.
Yes, you can do that, 50/100ths. Okay, now, also I have a timeline, a number line to show you. So, on this number line, you have all kinds of fractions. But at each spot, there's it lists the other fractions that equal that one fraction. So for instance, we'll start down here, 2/8. 2/8 is the same as 1/4. They're equivalent. Now go up to here. Ooh, look. Now we have 1 and 2/4, or I'm sorry, 1 1/2, 1 2/4, 1 4/8, 12/8, 6/4, and 3/2. They're all equivalent. They all are the same amount. Okay? So what I want you to do is, we are going to turn in your book to page 250. It's the back of your math page. I want to read something. And then we'll go back to page 249. So at the top of page 250, read what the gray box or the green box says. Read it with me. Find equivalent fractions by using the identity property of multiplication. Multiply the fraction by a name for 1. So, remember the identity property of multiplication? Anything you multiply by 1
Is the same number.
is the same as the other number, right? 3 times 1 equals 3. 50 times 1 equals 50. So we're going to do the same thing with a fraction. A fraction times 1 equals the same fraction. But the thing is, with fractions, you have to have the same denominator. Okay? You have to, in order to have multiplied by 1, you have to have a fraction that has the same denominator. Okay. So flip back to page 249. And actually, I have I don't know if I have enough of these for everybody. Let me see. 1, 2, I might. All right, tell you what. If I give everybody one of these, will you take care of it? All right, I don't know if we'll keep them, at least for today, for class. Okay, so it's a little number line with a fraction. Stop drawing on your paper. Okay. All right, I guess you want to do an art project at recess. And don't play with these. They're not toys. They're tools. Tools to help us learn. All right, but it just shows you the different equivalent fractions. Okay. They're not toys, they're tools. You don't play with tools, you play with toys, not tools. Okay, let's look at the top of page 249. You see how the pizza, it says Aunt May planned to serve 1 pizza to 6 people, so she cut her pizza into 6. But before serving the pizza, more relatives stopped by. And now she has to serve 1 pizza to 12 people. So Aunt May decides to make 6 into 12 by partitioning each piece into 2 pieces. But is it the same amount of pizza? Yes, it's still 1 pizza, it's just cut into different fractions. So for number 1 on our page, we're going to repartition the figures to rename the halves and complete the fraction. Okay, so we have a circle that's colored in. Alright, so we have 1/2 of the circle. Now the next the equivalent fraction we want to have it in fourths. So how should we divide our circle, Micah?
You cut it,
horizontally?
yeah.
Yes.
Also, I know a way to know it without doing that. You can just, take the 2 denominators and divide the one that's equal to
of our page how we're actually multiplying by a fraction that equals 1. Okay? But, so what would be my numerator here? Instead of 1/2, this is called what? 2/4. Okay, number 2, we have another circle. Same circle, except this time we have 1/2. And we're going to divide our circle into 6. So how can we make that 6? How can we cut it into 6 pieces? What 2 lines do I need to draw? Yeah, an X. If you make an X, it'll make 6. So if it's already in half and then you draw an X, it makes it into 6 pieces. And if you do it carefully, it'll be even. So 1/2 is the same as how many 6? 3 6. Okay, number 3. Same circle. It's in half, but we want to divide it into 8s. So how can we divide the circle? Alex? Okay, horizontal line. So right, because basically we're going to make 4ths, and then we're going to cut each 4th into another half, which will make 8s. So you're going to take it and cut it into 4ths, but then you're going to cut each 4th so that it's 8s. So how many 8s is equal to a half? 4 8s. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are equivalent fractions. Jacob? Okay, this what?
I don't know how you would say it, but you can just add them up.
Add them up. Add these?
No, the line.
Right. Well, I mean, you can only draw a line straight through if you're doing an even number. If you're doing thirds, there's no way you can draw a line through it. But you'd have to definitely think about it before you drew your lines. Okay, now the next part we have squares that are cut into fractions. So the first square is cut into thirds. So 2/3 of the square is colored in. How can I divide that so that it's in 6? Yes, draw a horizontal line like that. That way you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what fraction is equivalent to 2/3? 4 6. Good. All right, Mason. What do you have? I don't want you to miss something. Okay. Same square. Now, how do you think I can divide it into 9? Very good. 2 horizontal lines. So 1, 2. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninths. So how many ninths equals 2/3? Yes. 6. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the next one. Same square. These are. So we're basically just renaming the fraction, right? We're renaming it. So one name of this fraction is 2/3. But how can we divide it into 12ths? Jana? Yeah, 3 horizontal lines. So actually what you could do is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So how many twelfths is equivalent to 2/3? 8. Very good. Okay, now this is where you could use your timeline if you want to. Or number line, not timeline. Label the repartitioned number line and write the equivalent fraction. Okay, I'll give this back to you, but I don't want you to play with it. So we've got the first one is 0. We're just going to start at 0. And 0 is also 0/4, right? Because if you have 0 of 4 things, you still have 0. If you have 0 of 1,000,000 things, you still have 0. I have 0 of $1 million. Not quite true, but I don't have $1 million. So, all right, they want you to, what fraction can we write up here that could be an 8ths? What fraction is equal to 0 and 0/4? 0/8, right? And then the next line over is what fraction? 1/8. And then the next one over is 2/8, which is equivalent to 1/4 or 1/4. And then our next fraction, 3/8. Then our next fraction is 4/8, which is equivalent to what? 1/2 or 2/4. Okay, see, we're doing 4ths here and 8ths here. So 0/4, 1/4, 2/4, and then next is how many 8ths? 5/8, and then after 5/8, 6/8, which is also equivalent to 3/4. Anytime you have a fraction that has 4 in the denominator, you can say quarter. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So after 6/8 is 7/8. And then finally we have 8/8, which is equivalent to 1, which is equivalent to 4/4. Alright, these are all the same amount. They're renamed. 8/8, 1, 4/4. So 3/4 is equal to how many 8ths? 6/8. Good. Turn the page. Now we're going to demonstrate where you multiply a number by 1 in order to rename it. But it's the same amount. It's equivalent. So they even draw a little number 1 that you're going to fill in the fraction into it. So for number 1, we have 2/3. Okay. All right, number 1. 2/3. We are going to multiply that by a fraction that equals 1, okay, that will give us an answer in 6. So, we need this to be a fraction that equals 1. So, if our denominator is 3, what do we need to multiply 3 by to get 6?
3/3. 4/4.
No. What do we need to multiply 3 by to get 6?
6.
What's 3 times 2 is 6, right? And then, so what would we put in the numerator
2
to make this equal 1? Right, 2 halves. Alright, so our bottom is done. We have our denominator, 3 times 2 is 6. Now we need to multiply our numerator. 2 times 2 is
4.
4. Alright, so 2/3 is the same as 4/6. You just multiply it by 1 and it renames it. Okay, number 2, we have 2/3 again, times, I'm just going to draw a box here. And this time, we want a fraction that's going to be in ninths.
3/3 times 4/4.
Very good. So what number times 3 equals 9? 3. So in order to make this 1, 3/3. So what's 2 times 3? 6. So 2/3 is equivalent to 6/9. Number 3. 2/3, oh, these are all 2/3, okay. 2/3 times 1 equals how many 12ths? So what number times 3 equals 12? 4. So what's my fraction that's going to equal 1? 4/4. Okay, so now we just multiply our numerator. 2 times 4 is 8. So 8/12. All right, number 4. Okay, now we're doing 3/4 times
2.
how many? Okay, so now we're in 8s. What fraction would go here to equal 1?
2 halves.
2 halves, good. Because 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. So 6/8. So everybody got this? Okay. 3/4 times, I'm just going to keep moving on here. 3/4. Okay, now we're going to be in 12ths. So what's my fraction that goes here?
3/3.
Good, 3/3. So 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. Number 6. 3/4 times 1. And now we are finding a fraction equivalent to 20ths. 5/5, right. 5/5 is equal to 1. 4 times 5 is 20. What's 3 times 5? 15. But they all, so 6/8, 9/12, 15/20, and 3/4 are all equivalent. Number 7. 1/10 times a fraction equal to 1 equals hundredths. Okay, what's this fraction? Good. 10/10ths. Because 10 times 10 is 100, and 1 times 10 is 10. So 10 100ths equals 1/10. Good. Number 8. 4/5 times a fraction equal to 1 equals 20/5. So what's fraction? 5/5. Okay, 5 times 5 is 25. 4 times 5 is
20.
20. And let's do the last one here. So 5/7 times a fraction equal to 1. And what would this fraction be? Okay, please do not put those around your heads. I shouldn't have to tell you that.
2 halves.
2 halves, right. Because 7 times 2 is 14, and what's 5 times 2? Good. Okay. Now, here, you are going to come up with a fraction on your own. So, it says use different names for 1 to write the equivalent fraction. So, you're all going to come up with different answers, depending on the fraction that you put for 1. And they're all going to equal the same amount. Alright, so for instance, number 10, you have 1/5 times a number equal to 1 equals Alright, so I'm just gonna pick, I don't know, 4/4. Okay, so 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 4 is 4. So that would be mine. You can do whichever one you want. Pick a fraction equal to 1. Alright, and then just go ahead and fill in all these. 1/5. Okay, so there's another one there. So, raise your hand. What fractions did you do, Logan?
10. For the second one, I did 6.
Okay, 1/5 times 6/6 equals 6/30. Good. What was yours?
1/5 times 1/5, and
We can't do 1/5 times 1/5 because it has to be, this fraction here has to equal 1. So you could do 5/5. Okay. The fraction equal to 1 has the same numerator and denominator. So that would actually be 5/25. Okay.
Do the ones on the top and the bottom have to?
You got 5.
I got 1/5.
I thought you said 1/5 times 1/5. Maybe you said 1/5 times 5/5, and I didn't hear you. Yes?
Do the top and the on number 10 or on number 10, 11, and 12. Do the top and the bottom answers have to be the same?
No. Because it depends on the fraction you chose to equal 1. But, so anyway, for number 10, whatever two fractions you get here, they should be equivalent to each other. Okay, do the same for number 11 and 12.
Can I tell you what I did?
Yes.
On the first one that I did, I did 1/5 times 1,000 thousandths equals 1,000 5 thousandths. And then on the bottom I did 1 times 100 hundredths, which equals 100 500ths.
Okay. Marissa.
For number 10, 1/5 times 9, which is not small, is 9/45.
Okay, that's a good one. Good.
And then the second one is 1/5 times 8/8 is 8/40.
Good. So for number 11, you're doing 3/8. I wrote 3/4. Okay, so 3/8. So I'm just, on my paper, I would write 7/7. So 8 times 7 is 56, and 3 times 7 is 21.
That was the same one I did.
Is it?
Yeah.
And then the next one, pick a different fraction that equals 1. So let's do 9/9. 3 times 9 is 27, and 9 times 8 is 72.
That's the same one I did again.
You're so smart. I'm as smart as you, I guess. Okay, we're not going to read every fraction. And then go ahead and do 7/100ths. So you probably want to pick a fraction equal to 1 that's not too big. Okay, 7/100ths times 3/3 equals 21/300ths. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? So you should be getting the hang of the fact that a fraction equal to 1 is the same numerator, same denominator. And anytime you multiply a number by 1, it's the same. It's equivalent. So, for number 13, 14, 15, we're going to draw and color a picture to match the sentence. So, now you can draw on your paper. Okay, so for number 13, 2 Mason, you wanna come up and draw 2 1/3 circles are green. Here, green, right there. Okay, tell you what, divide them into thirds first. Okay, you're gonna have to do a circle in thirds, you're gonna have to make it kind of like look like a peace sign, right? Like that.
Peace sign. It's a steering wheel.
So do your circles in thirds, and you're gonna color the first 2, all of them in, and then the third circle, just the third. Alright, you don't need to do just fill it in real quick. Okay, so Mason's doing that one. The next one is 3/8 of the square. The square! So it's only one square. Purple. You have to divide a square into parts. Alright, Micah. And then what's the next color? Yellow.
Here's a yellow.
Okay, then the next one says 5/6 of the triangles are yellow. I'm gonna call everybody. Alright, tell you what. I'll pick a number between 1 and 10, and you 4 guess.
Wait, I want to guess.
Okay, go. Logan, what's the number?
6. 5. 7. 4.
It was actually 10. Did you want to come
I
up?
was 7.
Who had the highest number?
I said 7.
7?
I want to.
Alright, well, I'd already started before you raised your hand. Alex, come up and do 5/6 of the triangles are yellow. Alright, everyone else is doing this on your paper. So you'll need yellow, purple, and green. Okay, so Micah, okay, Mason, that's good, thank you. So 3/8, so good, you divided your square into 8 parts and you colored in 3 of them. Very good. And then Mason is 2 1/3, so he has a mixed number, right? A whole number and a fraction, so 2 1/3. And then Alex drew 6 triangles and he colored 5 of them in. So how many of you got it right on your paper? I should hopefully see 18 hands. Right? Because I think you guys did similar things to this when you were little, right? I think my first grader is doing some of this in first grade. He had to color in some things like that. Alright, so for tonight homework, you'll have an activity page that goes along with equivalent fractions.